Or no?
That's proof of fund. Standard needs.
Yeah, I know. I already sent him the proof of funds. They want a statement or no?
I don't think so, unless they ask for it. We're probably good right now.
Because then there was like, Eric was gonna send you something for you to sign or something. I'm like, okay, I never heard of that. I was like, oh, whatever.
I told him just to put a signature on the on that lending agreement that he sent you.
He didn't send me anything yet.
He didn't send it to you?
Nope.
All right, I was just on a Zoom with him. He'll do that today. We were just talking about that.
Got it. Because I wanted to ask about what's going on with that and what if he was gonna send me something, but he said he was gonna send me something, so I don't mind signing whatever he needs to sign.
Yeah, just shoot him a text and be like, "Let me know when you sent it." I'll just play it
got
like
it.
that. Okay. All right. Sweet. All right. Let's jump into it, guys. So we'll be I'm gonna have a hard out today at 4:30 on the dot. Like on the dot. So let's dive into today's topic. If you guys have questions on like what we're covering as we're going through it, throw it on the chat or just interrupt me. That's totally cool too. And then if we got time later, we could do like general questions. But I don't think we're gonna have time for deal help today. So let's dive into it. Covering underwriting wholesale deals. So let me pull some stuff up. Let's see. All right, so you guys should all see my screen. Let's jump into my market. We'll come coming to Tampa, I guess. All right, so as we spoke about lead generation yesterday, so now it's time to actually comp these properties, come up with the offer. I guess since we're going from the bare basics, really, as if none of us know this, so let's just play it like that. Let me open up a whiteboard. There we go. All right, so let's just first outline the formula, right? So we have the ARV, and that's going to be our after repair value. So we got that in place. We're going to be doing times 0.7 once we've identified the after repair value. We're going to be subtracting the updates. I'll just put UD updates. There'll be repairs on the property, anything the property is going to need to bring it up to that 2024 or about to be 2025 standard. Like it's totally up to date, super modern. Subtract the updates, and then we subtract our assignment fees. So this is just what we want to make on the deal. I normally just automatically will play $10K in the assignment fee. So again, this formula is just our after repair value, whatever that is, times 0.7, subtract updates, and subtract our assignment fee of, this should be AF, of 10K. Is that formula clear, or does anybody have any questions on this formula? Is that all making sense? So with this, if you guys are with me, so with this, really there's only two pieces to figure out in this formula to come up with the cash offer. And what are those? Anybody? All good, Daniel.
ARV.
Yeah, we got to figure out the ARV and
the repair cost.
Yeah, the repair cost. That's it. And then we could calculate all these numbers and see what it comes out to. So hopefully we all got that written down if we don't already know it. Now let's back out. Let's go to Zillow. And so we got to find the after repair value. Now let's first just find something that's beat up, right? So let's click on this guy. We looked at this yesterday, right? So they want $150. All right, yeah, this is an opportunity. Cool. We spoke to them, had a normal conversation, whatever. And we said, all right, great. I'll run some numbers. I'll get back to you with an offer. So again, in our formula, first thing we got to figure out is what is the after repair value? What is this thing worth once it's minted out? Once we do the bathroom, the kitchen, we fully update the thing. So really what I care about, a couple things to find the after repair value. We're going to look for similar homes close to the property that are similar in style, but also in the bed count and square footage. So really my first step, and I'm just going to mute everybody just because there's a little background noise. So really my first step, if this is the subject property, is to hover right over it, right? So if I just click out, I could see where it is on the map. And I like to just center my property like this. And then I'll kind of start to zoom in and, all right, like where'd that guy go? We see it's right here. So if I hover my mouse on the right-hand side, you see how it pops up? So it's right there. Recenter it. And just get nice and tight. Right up in there. Just like that. Now, when you're in a real dense area like Tampa, Florida, you know, it's dense like this, house back to back. I try and just stay like relatively tight. But if I'm into like a market that's more rural, you know, it's more country and whatnot, kind of like the PA market, then it's acceptable to kind of have a wider view to see some of the comps. If it's in like a specific community, try and stay put there if you can. But just always closer is going to be better. So now that we got the property nice and close, you know, we're hovering right over it. I'm going to go to the for sale tab right here. And I'm going to switch this over to the sold. Just like that. I'm going to go to the more filter. Excuse me. And we know that property is 14 something square feet. So it's right under 1,500. So I'm going to give just like a little bit of a play here. I'm going to do a minimum of 1,000. And because it's almost 15, I'm going to go up to like 1,750 to start. So I'm going to look at homes kind of in this range. Now, we'll do further filters if we have to, but I normally just start with that and see kind of just what's going on in the area. So I see stuff. I see one for 330. I see a 375. I see a 185. I see a 195. And so first, what I'm really trying to do is get a general idea of what is the starting figure, right? Like for what are the, is there enough homes, I guess? So we see stuff in the threes, right? Let me mute everybody again. Guys, just try and stay muted if you guys can. All right. So what I like to do is start with what are the highest homes in the area. So I see stuff in the threes, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the price filter and I'm going to do a minimum of 300. And really what I'm doing is I want to see if there's just enough comps, enough recent home sales that support 300,000. Does that make sense? And so based on this, I'm seeing plenty of stuff. I see a 375, a 350, a 335, a 350. A lot of stuff selling in the threes right up in here. So there's enough to support it. If there was only one at 3, and then I removed the 3 filter, this 300 minimum price filter, and then I see a bunch of stuff in the high 2s or mid 2s, then there's more comps supporting a 2 for the, you know, ARV that starts with the 2 than a 3. Does that make sense? Or does anybody have any questions or confused on that? I don't want to go too fast. All feeling good so far? So right now I'm seeing enough to support a 3. And so I just want to, couple things. First, I'm going to click into a few of them and I just want to see like what did these properties look like that sold in the 3s? Were they minted out? Did they need a little bit of love? What's the story? Now, so like this, perfect example. This one does not come back with any photos. Couple things here. Here's a little trick that I do. I don't think I've ever talked on this, but little thing. So this photo right here, this is probably from the original listing when they first tried selling it or whatever. And then if I look at the street view, you see how the house is a different color. So my head automatically starts to go that this may have been a flip. And because it looks like, you know, fresh paint and grays the color that's in with all these flippers. So my head is automatically going to, yeah, probably a flip, just instantly, right off rip seeing these photos. Then if I scroll down a little bit, I could look at the price history and see what's the story. All right, so they bought it for in 2017 for 135. Then in 23, they unloaded for 350. So like my guess is they picked it up when it was green and all ugly for 135, and then probably sold it all updated for 350. Could I be wrong? Absolutely. So, you know, one thing to go just a step further is take the address and throw it in just on Google like this, click on the realtor link, and more times than not, we could actually see all the photos, right? So here's the greenhouse. We know they painted it gray. We don't know what else they did, though. Inside looks decent. Let's just see the condition, right? Bathroom, pretty nice. Not bad at all. Fully updated bathroom. Maybe I would have done a different color. Probably would have done a stainless steel microwave. They could have done a backsplash. They could have done granite, right? So they could have, it's nice, but they could have probably sold this for more if it was fully updated, right? So where my head is now going is if they got 350 on this guy, they could have got more for it if they just fully updated it. So what, again, kind of like what that mirrors is my subject property, my head started to gravitate towards, there might be a shot we're above 350 on this. Right. So now I always like to find at least 3 comps that will support the after repair value. So that's one. My head's going to, we're going to be above 350, possibly. Right. So now let's look at this 375 and pay attention to when these things sold too. And we'll talk on that in a second. But this is pretty much the same house. It's got 1 extra bedroom, which isn't going to make a huge difference. And we'll speak on that in a minute too. But let's see what's going on. So a recent sale, they got $375 for it. Most of the time, you know, same deal, right? We could see the outside, nice and neat, looks clean. And again, I'm just going to take the address of the comp. I want to know what it looked like on the inside for that $375. So look at these photos real quick. I'm thinking it's a flip. Yep, it has to be. Now just try not to skip steps. Sometimes I make the mistake of like, yeah, it's a flip off of the first 4 photos. And then you get to the kitchen or the bathroom. They're like, they skipped a bathroom or they skipped the kitchen, right? So they could have got more if they did everything. So just, I guess what I'm getting at is when you look at photos of the comps, just make sure you look at the main things, flooring, kitchen, you know, outside, bathroom. That's what we care about. This thing's mint. Kitchen's mint. Let's just check the bathroom quick. Bedroom's nice. Yeah, they did it all. Really, really nice flip. And so they got $375 for this back in what, April, right? Yeah, April or May. I'm sorry, May. Back in May, so not long ago. So they got a $375. So right now my head's between that $350 to $375, closer to $375. Let's see if there's enough to support a $375. And so really what I want to do is to guarantee like, hey, we could do $375. I want to see multiple at $375 or up. So the only other one I see is this $410. It's a little bit smaller than our subject property, only by 100 square feet, not much at all. Let's see what happened here. Why'd they get more money? Was the lot bigger? Did they go crazy on the renovation? Does it have a pool? Right? Why'd they get more than the $375? $375 was mint, right? So let's check out Realtor. Let's go through these photos. Nice landscape. Yep, there we go. In-ground pool. They also look like they got a pretty big lot on this too. Possibly a bigger lot than our subject property. And mint. Nicer floors too than the one. So they did nicer finishes as well. At least I think these floors are nicer than the laminate, the life proof on the last comp, right? Nice finishes, great work, excellent work. And then also, right, so pool is a factor, lot is a factor as to why this sold for more than the $375. And then it could also be the year built, right? So 1957 on this one for $410. And how about that $375? $375 was... Uh, 1957, roughly the same time period. So not a huge difference there. So I think the biggest difference why this got $375 and the other one got $410 is the pool. In-ground pool, nice floors, look really, really sharp. As far as the lots go, you could go crazy and like, what's the real difference and compare the exact numbers. What I tend to do though, for the sake of time, if it's in the same neighborhood, I'll just eyeball it, right? I could see the lot lines here on 410 and I can see the lot lines here on 375 is pretty much the same. It's going to be a difference of a couple 100 feet, 100 square feet. That ain't that ain't changing nothing, right? So right now we got the 375, really solid, no pool, just like our house. We got a 410 with the pool. We got a 460 up here. It's a little bit bigger than ours too, but if you note, it sold in 22. So this property is already worth, like this estimate, 375, right up in that range. A little tip for you guys is this estimate. If you guys see right here, this estimate tends to be close to the after repair value. Not always. So don't ever just like, oh yeah, that's this estimate. That's probably the ARV. No, but you could reference that just to get an idea. So like based on what we're seeing, they got 360 on this. The market was still going up in 22. So it's probably worth what this estimate is. So 360, 2 years ago, almost 3 years ago, 375, a 410. So my head, or let me ask your guys' opinion. Put it in the chat. What do you guys think this after repair value is? You can give a light range or an exact number, whatever you guys are feeling. Based on what we see, what we just looked at, what do you guys think? Carlos is saying 360. 385, Rob. 375, 80. Eddie, my bad. Alexander, 390. So awesome. All right, so where my head's at, I'm comfortable giving it a 375 on this one. Now, let's just talk about some of these to give some advice here. Ready? So Carlos, you said 360. This house right here sold for 360 2 years ago. So this is automatically worth more. So really, I'm looking at this as if it was a 375 comp, because that's probably what it's worth today, right? So in my head, I'm seeing 2 at 375, 2 valued at 375, and then I see a 410 with the in-ground pool. Now, there's no property without the in-ground pool that's sold above 375, so that's why 390 is out the picture in my head. Maybe the flipper, maybe he'll list it for 390, maybe he'll list it for 400, maybe he'll get lucky and get 390. But the biggest thing in this wholesale game is be conservative, because if you start overshooting these ARVs, you're going to look like an idiot to your buyer, and they're just not going to want to do business with you. Like anytime you send a deal, the numbers are off. That's most wholesalers. And they're like, oh, no, like this guy, he don't know what he's doing. So just be conservative with the ARV and make sure there's at least 3 comps to support it, or kind of a combination like this, right? We got the 410, 360, 375, 360 was years ago. 410 got the pool, so I'd say this was maybe a little more tough to comp if you were like brand new, just because you got to think of factoring in these different variables. But that's how we came up with it. And you guys are all pretty much right on the money. Like 360 still works for an ARV. It's just you're going to have a little bit lower of an offer. 385 still works, because if I say 385 or 390, it's still a deal, but I just, I factored in my 10K fee, but maybe the offer is just coming a little less and I only make $5,000 on the deal, right? Or maybe I get lucky and the buyer, one of them says, yeah, I agree with the 385 or whatever, right? So just try and always be conservative with the ARV. And that's one, going to keep the buyers happy. Like, hey, this person knows what they're actually doing. And then 2, you're actually just going to be converting more deals. If you try and swing on it, I'm going to stretch to a 400 ARV. You're going to be flopping on deals, and you're just, you're almost setting up like a false expectation for yourself as to what should come about out of these 3 contracts I got that are all off on ARV, so just be conservative. Be conservative. Does anybody have any questions on that? Is that all making sense? All right, now a couple things here that I wanted to bring up. So let's talk about bed count with the difference in comps, right? So let's say we looked at a comp, or let's say our subject property, right? We got a 3-bedroom, and there's, we're limited with the comps, and I see one for 4 beds, right? You could still, like, what I want you guys to realize is just because a property has an extra bedroom doesn't necessarily automatically mean the property is, worth more. If I got a 3-bed, 1,500 square feet, and I got a 4-bed, 1,500 square feet, it doesn't necessarily mean the 4-bed will sell for more than the 3. So where the difference in the bed counts really starts to matter is when you're below 3 bedrooms, right? The most desirable properties are going to be 3 and 4 bedroom homes, but most people are okay with a 3 bedroom. So I want to paint this perspective to you guys. We got these 2 homes, both 1,500 square feet. One's 3, one's a 4-bed. Me personally, I would prefer 3 bedrooms out of 1,500 square feet than 4 because I only got a wife and a kid and a dog. With 3 bedrooms, I still have an extra bedroom in the house. And what that means is because it's 3 instead of 4 in that space, I have more living space in the house. So there's people that are like, I would prefer that 1,500 square foot house if it was only 3 instead of 4 because now I got an extra living room, or then I have a dining room, or I got a bigger kitchen, or I got an extra bathroom, or whatever the case is. I got a laundry room, right? So like the difference between a 4-bed and a 3-bed, I really don't look at that as a huge gap. As long as the square footage is on point, really. Bathroom counts that will have a little more of an impact on the after repair value and whatnot. But just think about that. With the smaller homes, I would prefer that. If I'm looking at another perspective, right? If I'm looking at 2 homes, both 1,000 square feet, that's a small house. That's not big at all. I would much rather somebody that's willing to move into 1,000 square foot home. Most of the time, they're going to prefer a 2-bed over the 3, right? Does that make sense? I'm thinking of a rental property I got right now that is, I think it's like 1,000 or 1,100 square feet. I couldn't imagine having a 3rd bedroom in there because you'd have such a small living room, right? So just keep that perspective. The bigger difference is between the 2 and the 3. That's going to be way more of a gap in the price. If you're looking at a 2-bedroom, do not comp it with the 3. It has to be comp only with other 2 bedrooms. And if you look at 3 bedrooms, you do have that exception of if I can't find any other 3-bed comps, I can make an exception and look at 4 beds as long as it's relatively the same size, or exactly the same size. Does that make sense? Do you guys have any questions on that? And I'll take that one step further, right? Say I'm looking at a bigger home. Say I'm looking at something that's 5,000 square feet. Some people, they might prefer the 5,000 square foot home with 4 bedrooms than the 5,000 square foot home with 10 bedrooms, right? I don't need 10 bedrooms. I'd rather have a massive living room, right? So just keep that perspective when you guys are comping stuff with the bed counts. Any questions, I guess, on anything that we covered so far before we keep going? You guys are a little quiet. Is this all making sense, or any questions?
Everything makes sense. That's why we're quiet.
All right, I guess I'm doing my job. Great.
I'm just sitting back and trying to soak it all in over these first couple Zooms.
Yeah, like Chris and anybody else that's new, don't sweat like grasping all of this right now. Like if you guys haven't started the course, like I get how this could be maybe a little confusing still. So, just try and go through the course. There's, the Mastermind V1 and the original that are almost like duplicates. It's the same topics, just covered a little differently. So I'd go through all of that with the numbers and lead gen, just all that stuff. All right, so let's, any other questions, I guess, before we continue? We all feeling good?
All right. This actually adds up once you start actually looking into houses. That's when you actually realize, wow, Eric was right.
That makes sense too. Yeah, you start to pick it up faster as you experience it. You're going through it, definitely. Random thought you popped in my head, Carlos. I'm going to be, guys, at the end of the Zoom, I'll announce our new 30-day deal challenge, which is going to be excellent for anybody that's new to the group. So don't let me forget that. But let's jump back into it, right? So we determined the after repair value to test you guys again. What else do we got to figure out in our formula?
Rehab.
Perfect. Yep. All right. So let's get back to the property and let's determine that. Let's get all these filters out of here.
Hey Eric, if you want, you can also go into keyword searches. You already did that a little bit last week, right?
I
I
got it.
already know all of it, but new people can also learn that how to actually like skim through Zillow a little bit faster.
We actually just covered lead gen yesterday.
Oh, okay, I was not there.
For those of you
Sorry.
guys that are new, it's literally all in the course, so don't sweat it. What was it just gonna do? All right, give me 1 second. Let me pull these sheets up, and then we could determine the repairs.
Hey, Eric, I got a question real quick.
Yeah.
For the partnership program, do you want us inputting the ARV repair costs and all that before we submit it on each one?
If you can, yeah. And I think the benefit too
Okay.
is just you start to get better, you know, through the repetition of doing it too.
Yeah, and faster and better at it.
The
Makes sense.
biggest thing though, and don't even worry, but like if you're like, man, I'm really struggling, just take a guess. You know, one thing I always tell my team is like, dude, don't sweat it if you don't know. Just I need your best guess on it because that's what makes you better at it. Like, all right, I'm gonna go with this number, and you have a reason why you picked that number. But if you never pick a number, it kind of delays the learning process. It just drags it out a little longer. So always give it your best guess for updates and rehab. Don't sweat if you guys are off because I'm obviously double checking all that. And then you'll learn through it because I'll call you up and I'll be like, hey, you were a little off on the ARV. We're really around here. Oh, okay, great. Yeah, and you learned something. There's something else I was just going to say too. Oh, if you guys haven't heard me say this, I'm going to say this a lot. You know, the most important piece through the partnership program is just as much details through the situation. Please no random leads, no copy off of Zillow, a link and then throw it through. That is the biggest waste of time for you, for me, for my team, just everybody. It's pointless. I might as well just go on Zillow and start sifting through and clicking on random crap, right? So you're just going to waste your time and everybody's time doing that. And the whole point is for you guys to make money quick, right? So that's really why I'm telling you guys this out of love. So the biggest thing, guys, again, is the situation. That's what I want to see the most out of, not like, yeah, they're just looking to sell, they're motivated. That means nothing. That doesn't tell me anything. You know, like as you guys start doing this more and more, as I always tell you guys, you know, the way you eventually, you know, have the ability to predict, that's going to just stem from the situation. I can read a situation. I know exactly, at least 75, 80% shot. I know exactly how this is probably going to play out just from your little description of, you know, whatever. So just try and go more than like they want to sell and they're motivated. Like why do they want to sell? Are they moving? Are they in a foreclosure situation? Like what's going on with these people? Was it a rental? Right. So just try and get as much info. And if you text them or call them, it doesn't matter. You know, just throw those questions out. The other thing too, just random idea, we'll get back to it. For those of you guys that are still like, I'm nervous to call or you don't have enough time to be banging out phone calls, you could just create a super basic template that you just text everybody with the list of questions. And then you just plug in the address. So you shoot them a text. Hey, my name's Eric. I came across the house on 123 Main Street. And then you paste the text with all the questions. I just have a few questions. I'd like to get you an offer. What's the situation with the property? What's the condition? When do they want to close? Is there any flexibility on the price? They text you back all the answers. You can copy and paste it into the lead form, and then that's it. You know, but those questions are crucial, just the ones on the cold call sheet. So I just want to throw that out there for you guys. All right, let's get back to it. So repair calculator, right? All right, so let's do this. So for those of you guys that are new, in the resources category inside the Discord, you'll see the repair calculator. It's really 2 sheets, right? So now we got to determine the repairs. This thing is glitching out a little bit. Now we got to determine the repairs of this property, the subject deal. Now, this is super, super easy to come up with these repairs, right? So all we really have to do on these sheets, there's 2 sheets, right? So first is the levels of rehab. We just determine what level is it. Is it level 1, 2, or 3 based on what we see on the photos and, you know, what the agent told us. Now, these can vary, right? We see light is carpet and paint. But that could also be the house needs yard work and a carpet in the bedroom, or it needs yard work and the roof just needs a little patch on it, right? So it could vary what is deemed as a light rehab. I think we all have enough common sense to try and determine that, right? Average could be like carpet, paint, kitchen, bath. But again, that could vary. What if everything was updated on the inside and the house just needed a brand new septic and a patch on the roof, or a brand new septic and a couple windows, or it needs a roof and a couple windows, or a roof and a couple carpets, right? And then heavy is just the thing's freaking shot. I mean, the whole nine is shot. I mean, it's either a gut job, just like terrible, really, really bad. Right. Now, obviously, sometimes you might be a little off on 1, 2, or 3, like being spot on. But I think just in general, we all understand this, right? Anybody, I guess, have any questions on this first sheet? There's no stupid questions. Are we feeling good? Simple stuff, right? So we determine the level. And then once we determine what level it is, and let's start there, right? You guys put in the chat, tell me what level it is, and I'm going to point out what I'm looking at, right? So, and let's just do this together as a team, right? You guys just speak out loud. What do you guys see that needs work on this first photo?
Yard paint.
Paint. Yard work.
What's that? A fence? That fence in the back?
Rework.
That's a 3-slat. That's a slat fence. So probably take that out or pressure wash it.
Anything else? I see some. I don't know if you guys can see it on Zoom. The driveway's a little.
Yeah, it's a little cracked.
It's coming up. Nothing too crazy though. Whatever. Still cheap on the outside. Nothing nuts.
That tree could use some work.
Yeah, that too.
Oh yeah. Now we see it now.
Yeah. So probably would do something there. Obviously, the whole bathroom.
Oh, good.
Yep. Entire bathroom needs to get replaced. Let's keep rolling.
There's only 5, Eric.
Oh, nice. All right. So based on this, I would make the assumption the kitchen shot, it needs new floors, it needs spackle, it needs paint.
Everything.
And then what I would also ask the agent is the roof and the HVAC. That's going to be really, really important to ask to determine it. Now, let's say they said like, yeah, roof's good, HVAC is good. So we're looking at paint the outside. We're looking at some stuff on the driveway. We're looking at the kitchen, bathroom. We're looking at the floors, electric, plumbing, roof, and HVAC. Let's pretend are all good. So based on that, what level are we at? 1, 2, or 3?
Heavy, and that's pretty much 80K
2.
minimum.
Jason saying 80.
Minimum.
You're saying 80. What else we got? Any other opinions? I think I heard it.
Look at it again, but I say
repairs are?
50.
We're looking at a 2, 3. So we're almost kind of all right. Where my head's at is between average and heavy on this guy.
I'm thinking heavy because of the price, but I'm between average and heavy. But I'm thinking in terms of price, it's heavy.
It could be, yeah.
The driveway alone is going to be 12K, if not 18. Because I've done a couple of those. That's 18.
It could vary. Now, one thing just to keep in mind, though, like with what you're saying, Jason, the cash buyers, when we blast this out, there's different buyers with different costs, right? One guy, he's going to Home Depot. The other dude, he's tapped into a wholesale supplier, getting cabinets start cheap. One guy, he's got his own crew that he runs. The other one, he's subbing it all out. You know, so these costs, like it might cost somebody 80,000. Somebody might be able to do it for 50. So it kind of varies. But if you guys follow this sheet to a T, you kind of land somewhere in the middle. Some people it might cost more, others less. So keep that in mind. But this one alone, if it didn't need, you know, like probably all of the flooring and have the bathrooms fully gutted and the outside work too, then it would just be average. But because we got to paint the whole outside, we got to do the driveway, which is kind of a big issue. We got some serious tree cleanup and whatnot. I'm seeing between 2 and 3. I would float right up in there. And so now that we determined the level, all we got to do is look at this other sheet. Our home is right under 1,500 square feet. And then we look at which one do we choose. We said in between average and heavy. Between average and heavy is between 30 to 60, because this is a little more intensive. And if you guys look too, we're on the border of 1,500 square feet, right? So you could kind of almost land right up in here. And so that's why I'm kind of this is a little more complex one to come up with these repair costs. But do you guys notice that we're 1,486 square feet And if we went with this one under 15, we'd be, looking at like 45, 50,000 for updates. Because it's so close to the 15 and this starts at 1501. That's why I'm kind of looking more on this one here. Between that average and heavy, looking at probably 65, 70 into this house. Just that this one's a little more complex because the square footage was right on that border. But does this make sense, or do we have any questions on this?
Yeah, I have a question, Eric.
Yeah, good.
So that says 2021 on the prices. Is that still substantial today, or is that still today's prices, or has prices went up? Would you estimate a little higher because of today's prices?
Yes and no. So, cost and contractor cost, material cost definitely have gone up a little bit. What I've noticed is with this repair sheet, I would say if anything, you could maybe tweak it by 5%. But what I still have noticed with our team running with this, it's still coming out to pretty much on the money. I mean, like I just said, between 60, maybe 70 is somebody what somebody would spend. And that's exactly what this sheet is telling us. So the big thing, like I said, is some of these costs are really going to vary. The nice thing is most of these investors that we're dealing with are in the actual business. They're not necessarily newbie fix and flippers. So a lot of these guys, they're rolling with discounts on labor, maybe discounts on the material too. And so I just find these numbers to still check out. They're still right on the money because these costs they vary so much within this buyer's list, if that makes sense. So I would say it is fine to still use this. As you guys just saw, it took us exactly what the rehab cost is. We'll comp another property too. So I think it's totally fine with our play. If I was the one flipping it, with my setup, I'd probably be factoring an extra 5% if I'm the one buying it. But no, these numbers are still checking out just fine with these people. The other thing just to keep in mind too is cost vary. To do this roof down here in Florida, you're spending 25, 30 grand. To do this roof down here, or you do this roof in Ohio, Cleveland. I mean, what are you
12K? So between 7 and 10K.
So yes, so I would say this sheet is A-okay between those three variables.
Yeah. Also, you got to remember that in 2021 you had COVID prices, so the prices were way high on everything. Lumber was like triple.
It's still up there. I was just at Home Depot.
Yeah.
Freaking nuts, but it hasn't really gone too much higher. COVID, all that nonsense, mid 2020, late 2020, and then 21.
I think it dropped after 2021 into 2020, or at the end, towards the end of 2022, towards the beginning of 2023, and you're still seeing that the prices are going up from that drop, and that's why it's just an assumption.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah, you guys, you're good on this sheet just because of all those different things. I still find it to be on the money. The other thing too is, as you do a few of these, I'd say after, I don't know, probably as early as 3 months, within 3-4 months time of comping this stuff out, you're not going to need the sheet. You'll just be able to eyeball it and know what it's going to cost. Because as you start shopping deals out, investors are going to tell you their opinion, what it costs. Agents are giving you their opinion on the rehab, right? So the other thing you could do, like we spoke about 2 weeks ago, questions to ask the agent. This will speed up the process for you guys. What do you think the after repair value is, real estate agent? Now you have a rough idea in your head, and then what is everybody saying it's going to cost to rehab, or what's your opinion on the rehab? And that's also going to help you kind of hone in on what that number really is, right?
Let me ask you a question about the roofs down there in Florida. Can you just do a double layer? So if the layer is already on top of there, can you just double it up? You don't have to rip the entire roof off. You just go right over it.
I think people do that. I just did a roof last summer. They definitely torn the old one off. But no, I think they go over it. They'll do that.
So if you have one layer, that right there is, if they go right over the roof, that's $15,000 instead of putting a new roof on. They just go right over it. So again, it's $15,000 right there.
Yeah.
Do these? Florida and Pennsylvania are two different markets. Do these numbers work generally for both areas for you, Eric, or is it like Do you find variables in like the areas you're working with the sheet here?
I would say the sheet will work in general across all 50 states. But what I would say, these numbers will tweak depending on the location, right? If I'm looking at something on the beach, they're doing higher end finishes, then it's going to cost a little bit more. Something I'm looking at a $2 million house in Los Angeles, whatever. So it'll tweak. Use this for all 50 states. And then, like I was saying, is as you start to do this and you're having conversations with agents and asking for their opinion, you'll just start to recognize the pattern as to like what, I looked at this house as an example and the agent says it's going to be 60. That's what people are thinking on the rehab, so like when I look at something similar to this next week, I'll be like, all right, yeah, probably going to be around 60 then, so you'll start to learn through that, asking opinions of others in the market. And then between the sheet and that, you'll in no time, probably a lot faster than 3 months. I would think under 30 days probably is when you'll really start to pick it up. And then it's fast, and once you guys start learning the market, then you could look at a house and kind of what the ARV is. You already know what the updates are, and then it's super fast to comp the property out, make the offer, and you could do it all on one phone call. Collapse that timeline to get the deal. So yeah, this is fine, all 50 states. Let's jump back over to the whiteboard, and now we got our numbers, right? So we'll play the 70 in rehab. We came up with I'm blanking so hard, 375 for ARV, right? So let's run the math. Let's plug all that in. So we got 375 for the ARV. We do times 0.7.
150.
I'm going to ask everybody for the MAO, but put your MAOs in the chat once you guys calculate it. So 375 times 0.7 minus the updates of 70,000 we got, minus $10,000 for us. Now, this assignment fee, guys, this 10K, this is what you want to make, right? So if you want to make 20K on every single deal, then plug in 20. The way I normally roll is I always plug in 10. And when I'm in the negotiation, if I think I can get more, then I will. Right. So let's say I plugged in 10 grand and the offer, just as an example, came out to 2K is what I could offer.
120.
Hold on. But I have a conversation with the seller and I'm like, well, what's your rock bottom? Can you go any lower? And they're like, Eric, the lowest I'll go is 205. And I know if they take 2, then I make 10 grand. Right. So I would try, because there's only a 5K gap. I could maybe try and get more. Right. So seller, the highest I can go is 195 and then boom, make money. Or here's another way. This is how I should have said this. If I know I can offer 200,000 and make 10 grand with this formula, and I speak to the seller, I'm like, seller, what's the lowest you'll go? And they're like, oh, I'd probably do like 190, then fine. All right, great. I'll give you 190. And now I'm making 20 instead of 10. So, basically I'll start with 10. Then I know what I can go up to and still make 10 G's, but I'll obviously try and get the deal less. And that would just lead to obviously more money in our pocket. So I factor in 10. That's my standard thing. If we get snagged more, sweet, let's do it. Some wholesalers, I haven't heard this in a very, very long time, but when I was brand new, the gurus teaching this stuff, some of them would teach, I think it was Kong, Real Estate Kong. A lot of you guys know him. He was always making like fat deals. I mean, he's making 20, 30, 50, 60, 70K assignments. And me as a newbie wholesaler, I'm like, damn, how's he doing this? And then I spoke to him one day, and what it is he'll just factor in 20 instead of 10. And there's a lot of people that do that. They'll factor in 30. I'm only going to do deals if I can make 30,000. And so it's a lot less deals, but it's bigger spreads on each one. So just something to think about, but I always factor in 10. That's how I roll. All right. So we got the whole formula. Let's see what we come out to. So load up the chat. What can we offer these people? We got 182. We got 180, 182.5. What else you guys got? I'm going to do the math too. Yep, 182.5's it. So that's really it. We just have to figure out what's the ARV, what's the updates, and then we can come up with our cash offer. That's really it. Now, if a seller told us in this situation, right? So the most, and if you guys could just, I think you guys draw on the screen by accident, if you guys touch on it. But so, all right, if we got 182.5 is what we could offer these people. So if we had a seller that says the lowest I'll do is 190 and we gave it our best shot, is that something we could do or no? 190 is it. I'm not going lower than that. That's what they tell us. Can we accept that if we have to?
I mean, we're only going to make 2,000, but yeah.
Yeah, we still make money, right? We still.
I mean, maybe you get lucky and find a buyer that can do the rehab for cheaper, so you make a little bit more. You know,
And what I say too is sometimes like this, right? They want 190, so now we're only going to make 7,500 on this deal. Or I'm sorry,
2,500.
Yeah. So, even though with this calculation it only shows that we can make 2,500, I still might try and mark it up $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 to see if I can pull that off. So even though it's a little more, it's going to be a little less of a return for our investor. Somebody still might just do that, right? So even if it's tight, it appears to be a small spread, I'll still rip it, maybe push it just a couple dollars higher and see if we can pull it off. In worst case scenario, whatever, we make $2,500. You know, as long as it wasn't a lot of effort to get to it, fine, we'll do it. How do you know what the rehab value is? That's what we just calculated. We just covered that. I won't go over that again since we literally just did that, but I'll show you just how to access it. All right. Here. All right. So hold on 1 second. All right, sorry about that. All right, so the rehab again, it's in the community here. There's course videos like covering all of this, like everything we've talked about on here is in the courses. But it's in the resources channel or category, repair calculators, the channel name. You'll see these two sheets, and then if you watch the course video, it'll cover everything on these sheets and coming up with that.
Recording in progress.
All right, so let's continue here. So we got that. Any questions, I guess, with anything that we covered so far? We all feeling good? All right, let's continue here. So let's go back to the whiteboard. All right, so now this is so as we just discussed with the normal formula, we're looking at, and let's try and just avoid drawing on the screen. So we got the after repair value right in the formula. Let's draw it out. Yeah, this is really important, even for those of you guys that have been wholesaling. Most people don't know this, what we're about to show you. I'll just do RP for repairs and then fee. All right, so obviously this is the formula we just covered, come up with the MAO. And so what I want to talk about is how this 0.7 right here this actually can vary depending on the property that we're looking at in the deal. So let's see here. Ready? So 0.7 is going to be standard. All right. So this is going to be across the board. Now, if I'm looking at deals where the after repair value, and you guys might want to write this down. If I'm looking at deals where the after repair value is less than 100,000, then in most markets, you have to do 0.65 in your calculation. The reason for that is because at 0.7, it's not enough spread in most of those deals. So it's like a 50K rehab, but a 15K profit. And so even though the return, the percentage return, right? Even though that percentage return is good, the monetary figure is not. So, okay, it's a 20% cash on cash return. Great. But 20% is only a 15K profit. The monetary return is too small. Do you guys understand that? Does that make sense? So when ARV is less than 100,000, you want to do 0.65 in the calculation. Any questions on that? That all makes sense? Now, you would also do 0.65 in a declining market. So if the market's on a downtrend, when you're comping stuff out, you could use the comp numbers. So, hey, I'm looking at something that sold last year. I'm looking at something that sold 6 months ago, but I can't use that number because those property values have dipped. So to make up for that in a declining market, true ARVs that you see, but do times 0.65. So, just be aware of that. I don't think anything's on too much of a downtrend at the moment, but I think there's a shot that comes soon here. So keep that in mind. So 0.7 across the board, ARV less than 100, then 0.65, or if it's a declining market. Now, you could also do times 0.75. And this is going to be if it's an extremely light rehab, right? So this would be like if it's lipstick on a, not even lipstick on a pig, like lipstick on something nice. Like the house is mint, kitchen's updated, bathrooms updated, floors are good. The only thing it needs is a new carpet in one of the bedrooms. Or the only thing it needs is a paint. Everything's mint. It just needs a fresh coat of paint on that house, and that is it. So like super, super light, more than what light is on our repair sheet, right? Like pretty much nothing, almost nothing. So in those situations, you could do 0.75. That's going to allow for you to offer more than the 0.7, right? So we can increase our offer. Now, the reason we could do that is because the buyers are going to be okay with a smaller return on investment because it's a whole lot less work involved in the deal. I got to go in there. I got to paint the house. That's it. I throw it right back on the market. I'll take less of a return on investment because it's a whole lot less work. I don't have to fully rehab the home. Does that make sense? And if the home is completely mint, like literally nothing, then you can get away with times 0.8. And that's what's called a true 0.75, and 0.8 is what's called a whole tail deal. And that just means somebody buys it, relists it instantly with no work or very little work, like basically nothing. And again, this is going to significantly increase your offer. Now, that doesn't mean we start looking at nice homes like, oh, wow, there's a nice house. Let me make them an offer at 0.8, because most of those are just not going to work out, right? So just keep that in mind. Always chase deals that need a full rehab, ideally, or they're just beat up. So, just keep that in mind. Some of these will be 0.65, 0.7 standard, 0.75, and 0.8 could be in the mix depending on the condition of the property. Now, just be careful between the 0.7 and the 0.8, because between the 0.75 and the 0.8, these two right here, be careful on these two, because you might be looking at a house that's like, wow, this thing's freaking nice, it's mint. But one thing to keep in mind is when people move out of a house, furniture scuffs the wall. There might be little nicks in the wall that you can't see, holes from when they had to unmount the TV from the wall, stuff like that, right? So that would instantly bring it back to a 0.75. If I look at a mint home, absolute mint, but I could see somebody's living in there from the photos, automatically go to 0.75. If I could 100% confirm that they're not in there and it's fresh paint, then fine, I'll do the 0.8. But more times it's the 0.75. So does this all make sense, or do you guys have any questions on that? All right. Let me see if I can give you maybe one or two examples real quick. So obviously this was going to be a 0.7. If I was in a depressed market like Cleveland or Dayton, stuff like that, where ARV is low, 0.65. Let's see if we can find maybe just a quick little wholesale.
I do have a question. I know somebody who had to leave out of their like condo for a family emergency and are looking to sell it, but it is based in New York and it's worth $1 million. Do we like do deals on $1 million condos, or like should I stay away from condos?
Yeah, no condos personally. Is it like New York City, like in the city?
Yeah, Manhattan.
All right, so it's a lot of condos there. Most of the time we stay away from it. If we were able to get it at a good enough discount or the numbers were great, then I could help you sell it.
Okay, 1000%. And so basically if it's in like mint condition, like we were talking about, because I did see like some photos of it, then we would be able to offer what, 0.8 on it, or?
Yeah, you actually just brought one other thing to mind. When you're in a higher price point, I'd say maybe when you guys are looking at stuff above probably around like 450, 500. When you guys see stuff and we think the after repair value, what it's truly worth as it is, if that's above 450, 500, then every time do 0.75, because the thing you got to factor in is the agent's commission. So $1 million, when they resell that, the investor, they're going to pay 2.5%, 3% on that, 300,000 right there. Or I'm sorry, what am I saying? 30,000 right there. Which is a pretty, that's going to take up a lot of the spread in the deal. So really, I guess what I'm saying is you're looking at something $1 million. You could literally just do, if it's worth $1 million, just do $1 million times 0.75. That's what we could offer.
Okay, sweet. And I also have like another deal. I guess I'll put it. I'm not sure this is. I literally just joined off of the TikTok live you're doing. I've been watching it for like a few weeks, and so I was like, yeah, let me go ahead and it's just $50, and for financial freedom, I'm down for it. But yeah, I have another deal because I've been trying to wholesale. I only have a little bit of time, but have a deal where this guy, he doesn't have a realtor who listed it or anything like that, but I did speak to him on the phone like a week ago, but he does have a mortgage, but he said he would be down for a sub 2, but I kind of just like didn't know where to go after that point. So
yeah, I could
would I be able to submit the deal to you? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. What I'll do is so Allie, for everybody that's new, the way we kind of work is so we do 5 Zooms a week. 2 are with me. This week is 3 with me. But then we also have Terrell, who's also a leader here. And so on the 5 Zooms a week, we'll do like most of the time we're doing deal help. So I'll help you on whatever you need, whether that's negotiating, contracting, whatever. And I don't need a cut on those deals. If you want anybody that wants to work with me outside of the Zooms that we do, we work through the partnership program, and then we work the deals together pretty much, partner up on them. So
okay, like a JV.
Yeah, it's whatever you're open to. If you just want my help, totally cool. We just do that on these Zooms. And if you want to work together, then I'll work with you outside of these Zooms, on all of it. So whatever you're looking for. If anybody is looking to partner, I'll put the link in the chat for you guys.
I appreciate you.
Yeah, for sure. And what part of New York are you in?
I'm actually from Florida, but I have a job where I get to talk to like certain people who are like moving and stuff like that. So I kind of almost get first dibs on a lot of houses that don't even hit the market yet that are going to.
That's amazing. That's perfect. I can't get any better than that. What part of Florida are you in, Allie?
I'm actually in Orlando, Florida.
Oh, okay. You're by Tim. I think Tim's by Pensacola, up that way.
Oh, Okay, right on.
Well, I threw the link in for those of you guys that want to submit leads and partner up. Because we're tight on time, we'll do probably some deal help Friday. I think we'll have more time for that. Let's do any general questions that you guys got before we have to wrap things up. Just anything you guys need help on or questions. If you guys have any, if not, we can look at a couple deals. Any questions? Greg?
Hey, Eric, what's your opinion on foundation? If there's any problems with the foundation, I've called a couple listings where they've said, yeah, the foundation's bad.
Most of the time, I'll pass on them.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Just for everybody, the mindset behind that is not that we can't wholesale a house with a bad foundation, but what I try and think about is the more intensive the rehab is, the smaller your buyer pool of interested people is going to be, right? There's only going to be so many people that are up to do a foundation repair, so the pool of buyers, your buyer pool just shrinks a lot, which just means it's going to be a little harder to sell. So most of the time I pass on them, unless it's like a crazy deal. I don't think I've done one deal though with a bad foundation, now that I really think of it. So unless it was super minor. All right, I see some stuff in the chat. Allie, yes, yeah, I'll talk about the 30-day deal challenge in a second here. Another one, only question I have is about finding buyers. I assume that'll be another Zoom. Yeah, that is that's actually all through the course, but we'll do that. We're this week and next week probably is just going to be mainly focused on like back to the basics, covering everything. So we did lead generation yesterday, underwriting today. I think Friday's Zoom, we're going to be talking about speaking to sellers, negotiating, what to say, what to ask, all of that good stuff. And then probably next week, definitely, we'll cover the buyer's list, selling deals, transactionally coordinating, all that good stuff. For you guys that are new, there's 3 courses. I recommend starting in the Mastermind V1, and you'll see all of that. I mean, everything we're talking on these Zooms is covered in there, building the buyer's list, the whole 9. So if you want to look at that earlier, you definitely could. What about tear downs and new construction? Only if it's in a super desirable area. For those of you guys working through the partnership program, just no tear downs that got flooded here in Florida. It's just the market's really funny with that stuff right now. But if it's a lot, if it's a tear down and there's new builds in the area, then yeah, we'll do that. Definitely. For sure. All right, so quick pitch, I guess, on the 30-day deal challenge. So January 2nd is when that's going to launch. It's going to run for 30 days. It's a deal challenge. So really the overall idea is to partner you guys up with people on my team, team leaders inside our company. And so what's really cool is it's going to be a way to just try and one, obviously make money. That's the goal. We get to do more deals as a company. You guys get to get your first deal a lot faster than just run around doing this on your own. And that's the motive behind all this. And so what's really cool though for you guys is you're going to be put on a team, and there's going to be anywhere from 2 to maybe at most 8 people, I'm thinking, on each team. So it's going to be very, very small. And these leaders, these are people that I train and work with daily, every single day, which is really cool. And so you're going to be on their team. They're going to do 2 Zooms a week with you guys if you're on their team. So they'll do a Monday night. So hopefully everybody can make it at 7 p.m. EST. And they'll do that on Wednesday night too. And this is all on top of the 5 Zooms a week we already do, right? So this is just for 30-day deal challenge stuff. So you'll be on their team. It's 4 weeks total. 2 Zooms with them, and then a Zoom with me with everybody, right? The 2 Zooms a week with them, where it's 2 to 8 people most on a team. That's going to be a way for you guys to be super selfish and just ask as many questions as possible. Hey, can you help me with this? Hey, can you help me with that? And really just be able to almost like really mentor you guys, really coach you guys that are new to this and collapse that timeline. The goal is to actually like literally have deals for you guys within the 30-day span, period. Like locked in, buyers in place, it's going to close. That's the goal. For those of you guys that only have 10 minutes a day to do this, My estimation is going to be 1 to 3 deals. For those of you guys doing this, basically full time. I mean, I think you guys could easily see 5 deals out of this too in 30 days. It's going to be really powerful. We're going to talk about lead generation strategies and where we're covering and whatnot. But, like I said, you need 10 to maybe 30 minutes a day. That is it. And yeah, I think it's guaranteed money. That's my mindset behind this. Let's get everybody a check that signs up and wants to participate. So it'd be really cool. I guess anybody have any questions on that? Obviously. Yeah, go ahead. What's up, Ron?
I kind of missed a little bit what you said about being in the groups. How do you get into the group?
I'm going to create a link, a sign up link. And then when we do the first Zoom, when we launch on the 2nd, January 2nd, that is when we'll disperse and let you know what team you're on. So, Ronald, you're on Josh's team. Mike's on this team. And then just again, if the teams are going to be 2 to maybe 8 people is what we're thinking. So it's very small. You'll do 2 Zooms a week at night with the leader for support, for help, for coaching. And then one on Friday, each Friday, right, with me in the big group, talking about stats and just covering topics and all that. So again, this is all just in addition, another cool thing we're doing in the community apart from the normal 5 Zooms a week and the normal partnership program and all that. So
gotcha. Okay. Thanks.
Yep, should be really cool. Any other questions I guess you guys have on that? Are we feeling good? Would you stay away from homes in Tampa? Allie, no. Just stay away from stuff that got flooded, like 2-3 feet of water in it, just for the next few months here. All right. If there's no other questions on that, Cooper, I see you in the chat just about auto leads. I don't know what you're asking. Like, are you curious what that is, or did you have a?
Worth it. So pretty much, it is worth it if you got the money ready to close a deal, right? As of now, I will not invest during Christmas, right? During this time period, still until middle of January. If you want to pull off market list, because housing market and car market is dying down. Just overall, it is good for off market data. Off market data is a lot better than on market, but it's just more costly, of course.
Yeah, you added more to the chat too. I want to know your thoughts on it. Just want to know why you got out of it. I just left as an owner because of the legal liability was just too much risk for me. For users, you guys are protected. For owners of the company, it's a little sketch. It's a gray area, so I just want it out. But phenomenal product. A lot of people use it. Adams used it, generated hundreds of leads. There's testimonials.
I generated one lead that was gonna give me 85 grand. That's how good it is. Like, I'm also working on stuff that we're still working on every single month. And they're gonna close, of course, in the future. It's good generator, but you need to spend a decent bit of money. I don't know how your financial situation is, stuff like that, but it is costly. It's not cheap. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
I'll show you this too. Like, if any of you guys, I'll throw the link on in the chat in a second here. But if you hit the platform, you can listen to the call recordings, so you know what the bot actually sounds like. You can see kind of how the leads come in, right? So it summarizes the whole combo. And then if you look here, these are all community members that have used it. Only community members in the reviews. So you got Grant, you got Roberto, you got Mitch, Terrell, everybody you guys already know that have been here for a while. And we just asked them for their honest opinion. What's your experience? Grant, I think in week 1, he made like 18 grand, I think, on a deal within 1 week of using auto leads. Mitch, he's closed multiple deals too. He's done like 4 or 5 creative finance deals, like killer deals. And then a couple wholesale too. But
yeah,
I would say
that the killer deal with the deal would make like $1.3 million when we were still working on it, me and Eric.
Yeah,
so your interest, 15 years on a 30-year amortization, $850 purchase price, and property was going to be worth probably 1.2 million in like 15 years, maybe 1.1.
What I would say is Cooper's now asking, is it worth the price? Yeah, it's worth the price, but you have to know what you're doing. If you're not like, if you're not doing this full time to where you could, or at least be able to follow up on do your follow-ups on a daily basis and know what you're doing, know what we're looking for, like you could definitely miss opportunity and that would lead to lost money, really. So if you've never even done a deal, it wouldn't really be my recommendation unless you're planning on working with somebody, right? So if you're using auto leads and you're doing the partnership with me, where you're like, yo, I'll do auto leads, but yo, Mike, can you help me on these leads? Because you got more experience. We can work together. You know, there's been plenty of people that have done, you know, stuff like that. But you just, again, it's expensive. So you got to really know what you're doing so you don't miss an opportunity. Chase in the chat, does it speak Spanish? It's not it has the ability to be bilingual, but it hasn't been fully implemented yet. At least I don't think they've done that. Can we do a Zoom on auto leads? Yeah, we can. Maybe the next couple of weeks. There's nothing too crazy about it, but yeah, we could do something like that. Like I told you guys, I think some of you guys asked for next week that if we can, this might be a 3-week, you know, series, but at some point you guys wanted me to tie in paid strategies. So, you know, building lists, data list, cold calling with the dialer, AI calling, a VA in the Philippines, text blasting. I'm going to cover all of that stuff through this series with you guys. I think this series, you know, going back to the basics is a lot. And I think we're going to cover some stuff that's more than the basics. So this might drag out like 2.5, 3 weeks. So at some point, yeah, Dom, we'll cover auto leads too, for sure.
Also, like, when I pulled my first list on auto, it gave me like 104 leads, something like that, right? So another thing, you have to have the time, or if anything, you can have someone that was partnered with you. Like I had a person that was partnered with me that was doing the calls, and I was just running the cash, right? You can also do that if you have the money, right? And have someone that's experienced do the calls, and you just forward the cash like I did. I ran like a few lists, but also one thing, like you don't want to spend and you're just new. You want to also like work on Zillow first, like deal with the agents, like go through the BS, learn how to like talk to these agents, because when you're talking to agents, actually harder to talk with the agent actual people, right? Know how to run numbers, stuff like that, and know what's a deal, what's not a deal. Because when you look at like those come back, like the paragraph that comes back with, I already know what's a deal and what's not a deal just by skimming through it. It's just when Ollie just going through the 3-day process. So that's another thing. You just need the experience, and if you have the money or whatnot, or if you don't, you still want to have experience just from doing the stuff yourself, because you want to spend 3-4 G's and get nothing from it. And you're like, why did I not get nothing from it? I had that like experience at the beginning, and I had Eric Lee go through my stuff. He was like, this is a deal, this is a deal. This is a maybe, stuff like that. So like one thing, you have to have the eye for it. And now I like look on Zillow for 15 minutes. I find deals just by scrolling through it and look at the pictures.
Yep. I see more in the chat. Cooper, do sellers have a negative opinion talking to the AI? For the most part, no. I would say 85.
You have some trolls in there. You have some trolls, but not really.
I would think the stat is probably sitting around 85% of the people don't know they're speaking to a bot. And the ones that do, they end up just having a convo anyways, which is hilarious. And then the people that troll, they don't even want to sell. You know, they're not even real.
Like you have some of those trolls that have like a house that's worth 200K and they're asking like 1.2 million just to see by a conversation. Oh, okay.
No, it's wild. We had people tell us, you know, because obviously there was months of testing, and I would test all the leads, and I would call these people up, like, yeah, you spoke to my partner Jerry, and yeah, he's such a nice guy. It's a freaking robot. Like, they think he's a real dude, or they'd be like, yeah. I remember like early in the testing, this lady, the bot said like some smarky remark. Like said something a little sarcastic to the person, and they're like, yeah, you know, he was a little rude to me. So it's obviously it doesn't do any of that now, but it's really crazy just how smart it is. And like I said this the other day, this bot, like I've had a whole team of VAs, 5 girls in the Philippines calling full time. I train them 2 hours every single day to perfect them. The bot smoked all of them. It never gets nervous, never skips a question, always know what to say, never stutters. Like, there's just so much benefit to it. And then 2,400 calls a minute, all at once, having the same convo at once. I'll share this last perspective. I don't mean to ramble, but I just think this is crazy. You can do 2,400 phone calls a minute. Prior to this technology and being able to do that, to do 2,400 phone calls at once, you have to have 2,400 guys in an office dialing at once, right? Obviously they could be on a 3-line dialer. So what do you really need? Maybe 800 or 1,000 guys to have that many combos at the exact same moment. It would take me a lifetime to make 1.7 million calls. I could do it in one day. It's insane. But this ain't a pitch, because again, I don't own this anymore, but it is an amazing product. You have to know what you're doing, because you don't want to miss opportunity.
How do you get started
with auto leads?
Yes,
I threw the link in the chat at 4:15. You'll see it. It's the third one up.
I ain't gonna lie, like this morning, like I feel like I really need auto leads, because like I actually been literally trying to cold call, because I'm doing it from Jamaica. And this morning I got cursed out by a seller, and I was like, shit, for the first morning call. Like, that's the first thing. Not even a good morning. It's just like, as I start talking, they start cursing me out. And I was like, hell, like I can't do this.
I have a few of those sellers. They're fun to deal with.
Let me ask, you're new to this game? This wholesale?
Yes, I'm actually I'm actually doing it from Jamaica. I just got into it since around February, but I didn't really focus too much on it. I was I just heard about it, and me knowing that I'm doing it from Jamaica, where I'm from is not everybody doing it like me. Like, not everybody think the way I'm actually thinking and trying to make a financial freedom and stuff like that. I had to literally lock myself away from everybody, my friends who I used to operate with, we used to hang out with, and I just locked in and just be focused on this, focus on trying I started off by doing try to do fix and flip. That's what I was actually trying to focus on, doing wholesale and stuff like that, until it started I closed my first deal in South Carolina, Greenville. It was a line deal. It was a broker actually helped me with it, but at first I thought he was a buyer, until when I actually was actually trying to back and forth with this seller, and trying to I didn't have any boot on the ground, so I didn't really know how to really get into it. I was actually really trying to figure myself out, because I just became 23, and I'm just trying to figure everything by myself. I don't have the motivation. I don't have anything. I just have to be watching, and because I want to actually help all my family, and it's just all on me. And it was actually hard to actually really try to saying that I have any I did this without any mentor. It was just me trying to watch videos, keep on trying to focus. And the thing is, it's hard for me knowing that I don't have the motivation around me. But just watching and being listen, I'm tired of seeing my family be living, and I really want to help them so bad. And it's hard on my side, because I have to be listen, the whole family depend on you as a breadwinner. So you got to do this. Don't watch. You can't even explain or tell them, because whenever you try to talk to other people about this, it's they all look shocked and wondering if you're crazy, and because they don't understand.
Yeah,
so it's just
I get it.
Channel, I get it. Conversation, because our conversation with my friends, it's not the same anymore. It's just I noticed that I don't know, I never used to be like this, but whenever I talking to them, if I'm not talking about real estate, it seems the conversation not making sense. I don't know if I'm the only one. I know exactly what you're saying. But it's the conversation not making sense. And the thing is, I just had to just lock myself away and just be okay, I'm trying to focus on this. I closed my first deal, still working on my second deal. I started getting into creative when I started watching Pierce Morby. And the thing is, I realized that it's hard for me to really generate leads, because I don't have the money, I don't have this. And I was only saying that, okay, I only have Facebook as a free market to try to find deals. That's the one where I find my first deal on, and Zulu. So the thing is, I'm actually like looking on those, and I started like, okay, you know,
don't
because I can get.
I'm gonna give you some advice, and one, your story is super inspiring. I think it's inspiring to me, and I think a lot of people here. So shout out to you for what you're up to, man. What time is it? I was curious. What time is it right now for you?
So it's 4:23 right now.
In the afternoon?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Same with me. Yeah, I guess Jamaica is right there.
Yeah, but it's like the thing is, it's hard on my side doing it virtual because like I don't have the access, because whenever I try to like type in like certain things like software that I need to make it more easy for me in the game, it's so hard because they the US this is not available in your country. This is not you don't have access to this. You can't have access to that because of the different, because I'm knowing that I'm actually out of the state. Certain software I don't have access to. So it's like I have to be doing double. So I'm doing double everything everybody doing. So knowing that for a lot of investors that I'm seeing like, y'all guys have it. Like everything, like you guys are the spot. Because I'm being like, if I'm here and I get my first league closed by myself, and I'm being like, if America ever let me have my second foot over in that place, I'm coming for everything. But I'm staying consistent.
I love it.
Coming for everything. So I'm just saying that I'm doing it virtual, and I try to literally find a team where I could literally find out how I'm gonna get this operate. Where I signed up a contract it's like a JV giant venture contract with a partner of mine in the South Carolina side, who was actually trying to do driving for dollars and try to see if I could actually literally get something on the contract. But I was realizing that I don't have any software to actually find these, or way to actually really get leads without after paying it for it or skip trace.
Yeah, you don't got to spend any money. No money.
Exactly.
It's just strategy.
But I know, but I don't have access to it because I'm not aware of it. Everything I learned when it comes to sub-tool, seller finance, when it comes to hybrid D, like everything, I had to literally just soak everything in my head. I'm still working on myself and because I have to work on my mental to say, like, I'm trying to build my confidence over the phone, try to work on my job.
I only have like 5 minutes, and I have a super hard out at 4:30, but I want to give you some advice. So, are you doing this full time?
Yes, I'm doing it full time. I literally like.
All right, and let me ask you this too: it does 10 grand, if you put 10 in your pocket, does that go a long way over there?
Yes, like really a long way.
That's what I thought. my old business partner, he's from Jamaica too, and he would just tell me everything, kind of what's going on over there. Dude, I think probably the best thing for you would be to work with somebody, like partner up with somebody. And it doesn't have to be forever, but what that will do is just instantly, and this is advice for everybody that's new. I told you guys last week, if I could have done this all over again, I would have just joined a team for a year or two, because I would have just learned everything so much faster. You know, so it doesn't, I'm not somebody, as you guys see, I have that entrepreneur spirit. Like I'm that guy that just, I want my own company. I want to be the head and in control. And that's just who I am. And that's fine. Like if you're that person too, any of you guys, that doesn't mean like you have to be on a team for a lifetime. I mean, there's a lot of companies out there. As you guys know, we just launched our new one. Like you could join our team, and I don't care if you're on the team for only 6 months because you want to make money quick and you want to collapse the timeline. I don't have an expectation for anybody to be rocking in my company forever. I know that's not realistic. So, you know, I would either join an actual team, because then you're forced to work. You have unlimited support. You're tapped into every single resource, or you just partner with somebody. You say, yo, Joe, I see you in the Zooms. I see you're doing this full time too. How about we work together? And you know what? If you're interested in that, I have the perfect person to work with you. If you just want a buddy, yes, hey, let's work together. The perfect person. Is Xander here? A business partner, somebody he could run with. He's in our high level mastermind. So I work with him 3 days a week, extremely close, and he just needs somebody to work with full time.
I got an idea. You know what? Fuck it. Me, Xander, and him. And you know what? I will just do that. I'll front the fucking cash for the owl leads, and we'll just run it. But I had Joey do the same shit before. So if he can get good on the phone. I'll just front the cash for the auto leads, right? Xander will just run it. He'll manage him.
Power, man. Come on.
Like I don't have like I really appreciate this. Like I don't have any problem putting out the work because I'm doing this and I'm not just doing this for me. I'm doing it for my family.
Look, what he said's the perfect situation. Adam funds a couple $1,000 in marketing. You two work the leads. You're with Xander for unlimited support. I'm with Xander 3 days a week.
I sit back, I chill, I relax. I don't care for whatever. On the first deal, I'll get my cut back, right, of what I spent on auto, right? And I'll go 50-50.
Let's do that.
Guys, he needs a VPN first before he does any of this stuff. He needs a VPN.
I know.
Set that up. Guys, I have to like leave here in 2 minutes. I'm so sorry. Can you, what's your name again? Because it just says Babe White.
My name is Alex.
Okay. Axe?
Alex.
Alex. Okay, cool. I'll remember that. Could you have a cell phone you could put in the chat, and then I'll connect you with Xander. But I think that'll bring you and Xander to very fast money, and it will help. I think both of you guys out a lot.
Let me put my number in.
And how old did you say you were? You said 23.
I just became 23.
Yeah, that's perfect. He's 21. Adam's 21 or 22. Yeah. You guys are all in the same age, so that's perfect. And for everybody else, that just real quick, because I do got to peace out. Alex, just put the cell in the chat if you can. For everybody else, what I'm thinking about too is squatting you guys up. So trying to match some of you guys that maybe want a business partner or want to work with somebody. Like, hey, we'll do an hour on the weekend together or whatever. So if you guys bring that up on the next Zoom, I'm happy to try and partner up more of you guys together, which is only going to help.
I just dropped my number in.
Yeah, I'm adding that to my phone. I'll just send that over to Xander.
All right, I'll call.
You use WhatsApp
tonight. I don't know. Do we need WhatsApp?
No, like I was just saying, like that's another easy way to get access to me. Just the same by just using internet, and it's unlimited call where I don't have to be using like literally credit. It's just using.
Okay.
So I'm just actually.
Put your WhatsApp in the chat, brother.
Pardon?
Put your WhatsApp in the chat.
Oh, it's the same number. So you just type in my number. If you're on WhatsApp, it's an easy way to really get access to me because I'm doing this internationally. So it's an easy way instead of calling because when I'm doing on the call, you charge me more.
You better have Alex. You're gonna have an awesome story in about 6 months from here. It's gonna be a crazy story.
Like, I just want genuine people to really try to say, "Oh, I'm working here." It's hard to really find good people out here that literally like, okay, you know what? I literally want to genuinely help you. It's just like it's so struggling, and at the same time, I don't want to be a burden to anybody because, like, with me, I don't want to feel like okay. When I'm asking too many questions and stuff like that, I don't want to because I know that everybody got their own responsibility, and I never really want to be a burden to anybody. That's why I never really try to I always try to figure it out on myself because I never really have anything given to me. I always got to figure everything out by myself. So I just always,
This is what the group's about. Or I do got to end this, guys, but this is again what the group's all about. So
I appreciate it.
Just comes out to, for everybody, just put yourself out there and look what happens. Alex started talking and boom, I got an idea for you. Just use and abuse it just like he does, right? And I want to see all you guys win. That's the point of this. So
I think that'd be a good way to move forward, especially with some of the beginners there, to match them up with somebody in the group that's been doing this for a minute.
Bring this up, guys. Bring this up Friday. I'm late for the Zoom now. I have to end this, but bring this up Friday. I'm totally down for you guys. All right, guys. I'll see you guys Friday. And you guys
have a good one
with Terrell tomorrow. All right,
is it possible that I can just call you for 5 minutes after?
Yes.
Okay. I'm on Zoom for an hour. Call Alex. Yes.
Recording stop.